All right, welcome. This is going to be a pretty exciting video. What I'm doing here is I'm picking up the challenge to see if I can write a feature film working with ChatGPT in less than the amount of time that it takes to watch a feature film. So, a few parameters I'm going to go ahead and let you know about here are I've got a timer which is set to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Is 90 minutes. 90 minutes is the length of your standard featured film. The one I write, I would like it to be actually less because I do actually want to make it using AI as well. And so for that, I think it's smart to keep the runtime nice and tight, but we're going to give ourselves 90 minutes and hopefully I can write an 82-page feature film in 90 minutes. So in less than the time it takes to watch a feature film, I want to write a feature film. I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have set up. The purpose of this one is to write my feature film, but the other, and it's fun to do a challenge like this. Two, I think the tools are ready. I do believe we're in a place where this is possible, but maybe I'll fail. We don't know. Either way, I am going to keep going until the feature film is done. So even if it does take me 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, I am going to keep going on this video until I have a complete first draft of a feature film. So I should premise that. It is intended to be the first draft. So it doesn't mean that it's going to be like the perfect film, although I do want it to be good. I want it to be good enough that I would consider it a solid first draft that I can then manually, revise or rewrite sections of it, but without having to like restructure or do any like massive changes. So typically what I would want from a first draft that I would have written manually, because I have a lot of experience writing screenplays, but at the same time, I don't expect this to be like the perfect draft that is going to be the final finished movie. But the reason this is key is because first draft is a pretty big deal for filmmakers. Once you get to that first draft, a lot of us know that after that, it's like, you've reached the top of the mountain and now you're kind of on the downhill slope. You've got the wind at your back because the movie's there. You've got something and all you have to do is go in and revise and tweak and do all that until it's like, just delicious and perfect. So I will set the timer now. So the timer has now started. We are go, and I'm going to continue to kind of tell you some of the things that I've got ready to go so that you can do this at home as well. That's the idea, is that I'm doing it for myself, but I'm also doing it to show the process of how you would do it if you decide to go ahead and do this, which would be cool if you do. All right, so what are the things I'm working with? Let's go through it. So on the screen that you see in front of you, I've got, I have a treatment template, which is what I'm gonna start with. And you'll see about that template that I have, it's basically a development template that I use for all my films. It's revised over time, but whenever I start a feature film, I go through the template and answer a bunch of questions to make sure that I'm answering certain questions. Okay, so I've got a list. Oh yeah, and then here I've got ChatGPT, where I'm going to do a lot of the work. So most of the work is all going to happen right between these two screens. I'm going to explain to you why I'm going to start in Google Docs in just a minute. And the reason is because also just from the perspective of copyright, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that a movie can only be, or a script or any written thing in the US where I live, can only be copywritten if there is a significant amount of human contribution, right? And then also, so from a couple perspectives, I will start this movie in a Google document so that is the first timestamp, right? So you see Google Drive keeps these timestamps of when things happen. So when I start this document, which I am about to within the next minute or two, I will start with my ideas in Google Docs. There'll be a timestamp that shows that I started this idea in a Google Doc. And then when I copy and paste that information into ChatGPT as its starting point, wherever ChatGPT has a timestamp, I'm sure on the servers, that timestamp will be a later timestamp than what I've got in my Google Doc. So if for some reason this ever needed to go to a court of law, which I'm not really worried about, not seriously worried about, but just in the back of my mind, I do this in order to make sure that it's documented that the idea started outside of ChatGPT, and then I went into ChatGPT to update it, if that makes sense. Okay, so most of the work's going to happen between these two. I am going to go back and forth, and I'll explain to you why that's a really good way to go. It's basically to maintain the memory of it. Okay, so that's enough of that. So we got our Google Docs, we've got our ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you what I have on this other screen. On the other screen, I've got a little note to myself of what order to do this in order to keep my focus, keep my speed. I have serious ADHD, guys. So for me to do anything like this effectively, I need to have some kind of high level. I don't like a lot of detail in the outline, but just to tell me what to do. I've got develop the treatment, and then I'm going to generate the outline. Then I'm going to revise the outline. Then I'm going to add detail to the outline scene by scene. Then I'm going to generate the script scene by scene. You don't just generate an entire script. A lot of people think that it's just like, oh, you just push a button and you get a feature film. No, it doesn't work that way, right? No, you have to do it. You have to break it down. You have to do it in a process in order to keep its memory intact. And then revise it manually in Final Draft. Now, all of this is going to go by very, very quickly because, as we said, we don't have a huge amount of time. There's our timer clicking down, and that's another thing that I have on the other screen. The other things I have on the other screen is I've got OBS, which is doing my screen recording, so it's recording that screen. I have got a file folder just locally created for Hunt movie. This is the movie that we're going to be working, and I've got a document started, not a PDF, but an FDX, which is a final draft document, and all that is an empty document. I just have that already made so that once I get to it, I can go right into it. But those are all the things that I have to start with. So I'm not really starting with much, but it is good that I have those things already kind of ready to go. And then without further ado, just kind of, I'll once in a while give you these updates on how much time is left by dragging the clock back in from my other screen. Okay, and then one thing. So let's talk about what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this movie. Oh yeah, this is an important caveat here. The caveat is that, ChatGPT, I think, is a great writing assistant. I've written a number of screenplays. I do think I'm more effective and faster using ChatGPT, but I want to say where I think it's a little bit stronger. And this particular movie, Hunt, which is an idea that I already have in my head. So for one, I'm trying to give you guys all the parameters, so you kind of all the caveats and parameters to, assuming this works, which I believe it's going to work. I think we're going to get this movie written in less than the time it takes to watch a feature film. So we're going to write a feature film in less than the time, or within the same time that it takes to watch a feature film, or less. And I think the reason it's going to work is for a few reasons. One, I am already experienced with ChatGPT, so I want to give you all the caveats so this doesn't look like it's like some kind of flim-flam trick or whatever. I do actually want to share this information and help, and I do think it's repeatable, but I want you all to know the caveats and the things that I have working in my favor to make this happen, so that if you try it and it's not working exactly the same way, you can kind of double check, right? To make sure, oh, did I have this? Did I have this? Didn't have this? So one of the big caveats is this is an idea that I already have in my head. I've been playing with this idea for probably a few months now already. And I do think that that's going to help, because a lot of the things are in my head already. It's not like making it up totally from scratch. It's something that I've thought about, but I do think that's a realistic scenario, because we as writers very often play with ideas a lot in our heads before we get to the sitting down and actually writing it. So that's a realistic scenario in my head, but a realistic scenario in my opinion, but I think it is going to help with the speed right now and me answering the questions in my treatment template. And then the other caveat is that the movie is meant to be a sci-fi action that's it's set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic type of environment. And so and it's more so action, right? It's action, it's science fiction. And I think that will lend itself well to ChatGPT's strong points because it's not like I'm writing Casino, or like that type of The Departed or that type of a drama where it's super duper like actor driven or it is I do want my all my movies to be character driven, but it's sort of maybe a happy marriage between character and plot driven, right? So because there's the plot side of it, there are things that can happen that don't have to be quite as nuanced necessarily in the dialogue and in the way the plot is. Like I can probably lean on a little bit more of a commercial structure to move this thing along, versus something like a Martin Scorsese film or something like Wolf of Wall Street, where it's all really like characters and dialogue and that's what shows. So that's what the reason I'm giving that caveat is I think we're leaning into ChatGPT's strengths, and I think that's what you should do. I think that ChatGPT is extremely well suited to writing a movie that is commercially structured. Okay, that being said, I think it's time for us to get it going because time is ticking. So there's our timer right now. We've chewed up about 8.5 minutes, and we got to get this done in under 90 minutes. So let's dive into the next step, which, as we see here, is develop the treatment, right? So this is going to be the biggest step. It's the most important step. It's the most important step of any writing, right? Is developing the treatment. Because once you have a really solid treatment, everything else sort of trickles down out of the treatment. And if the treatment is not satisfactory or solid, then you're going to have problems later on. Like a lot of times when people have writer's block or say they have writer's block or whatever, it's because their story or their characters weren't really all the way developed. And then they've run into the blockages later on where you realize, oh, shoot, there's a foundational problem with this story. So I'm going to probably spend the most time on the developing part of the treatment. And then if I do that really well, it's my hope, it's my guess that the rest of this will go really, really fast and really much, much easier. Okay. All right. So here's what I do. I got my treatment template. I'm going to start by making a copy of that. Right. So there's my copy. I'm going to rename this because I already know that this is going to be a treatment for a movie called Hunt. So I go ahead and rename it. And there's my timestamp. So now I know by starting in this Google Doc that I've beat ChatGPT to the punch. Whatever I put in this thing, it's clearly my idea. So if that comes up or anybody asks any questions about that later, I know that I've got like a digital timestamp to show that I started on this idea outside of ChatGPT and then went in there. All right, so this is my template. You can make a similar one, but look, there's my name. It's going to be Hunt. And I'm just going to go through this and start answering questions. And once I'm done with that, then I know I've got something solid. We're going to keep it PG-13. The runtime, I am going to try to take that runtime down to 82 to keep it faster in and out. Yes, it definitely is going to be sci-fi action thriller. That's my favorite genre. Gritty, slick, modern. I'm okay with that. References, Ex Machina. I'm good with that because of that for the drama side of it, and the number of significant characters should be a low number. That movie has about 3 primary characters that are interacting. There's a movie called The Rain, which is post-apocalyptic. I Am Legend is also post-apocalyptic and kind of has a similar idea of a guy who's left alone in the world. I mean, Will Smith is left alone in New York, but this character that I'm thinking about will be a character that's in a post-apocalyptic world, and he's the only person walking the face of the earth. Okay, so that's the idea I'm working with. I'll keep enemy to state in there because of the chasing aspects of it, because I do want this to be the action part, right? And then Eagle Eye also for the chasing, the surveillance, the hacking. So really, these are all the things that I just love in general. So there's so many of my movies are always going to reference these because these are just some of my favorite movies. If you haven't watched the series The Rain on Netflix, it's definitely worth a watch. It's a Swedish series. All right, the resources are going to be completely different than this. The resources are going to be more like AI software, because I'm going to make this with AI. So I'm going to say like AI software, probably Kling is going to get used. definitely Midjourney is getting used, likely some Runway, 11 Labs, um, maybe for some video, possibly, definitely Ava for some background music. Photoshop is going to be in there. DaVinci Resolve will be in there. I can always add to this later. There's no need for any of this to be perfect. It's just putting it in there, and it gives me parameters to work with, right? Keeps me focused. So AI generated shots, that's fine. The struggle will not be televised. Okay, so we need a tagline. I'm gonna make one up. It's not gonna be perfect, but I will call it we go to extreme lengths for those we love. Not worried about it because I can always update that later. And that's one thing I've learned through my life. I'm sort of a recovering perfectionist, and when I was younger, I would always have a problem sometimes of like not finishing my writing assignments because I would want it to be so perfect. So let's say it was a 5-page assignment. I'd work on the thing for weeks and have 2 pages, which I just loved. So 2 perfect pages only gets you a 40% on a 5-page assignment. And so I really just had to beat the perfectionism out of me and sort of force myself to put something down and then iterate, right? And that is clearly a more effective way to go about things. So I kind of don't tend to try to take too much time on any one thing. If I'm taking almost any amount of time or stopping, I will put something down and try to go back to it. But that is not my nature. It's actually just a trained kind of thing. So the log line. So the idea I have for this is this guy who lives. There was a post-apocalyptic event. I'm thinking it's a nuclear disaster that happened, like a meltdown, but not like a bombing type of thing. I think it's more like nuclear plants that just start leaking, and then and it might be the result of like a hacking type of thing where somebody, an anarchist group, has hacked all these nuclear plants and had them melt down, right? And then based on that, a lot of people got killed. So if we have 8 billion people on the planet, I'm going to say that we went down to about 1 billion. And then somebody brilliant came up with the idea of putting people onto these racks, which I have another film that I've written, which I wrote manually, called Rack. And that is where people are like on these racks and are living in virtual reality. So they opt to just go into virtual reality. But in this movie, I'm going to use that same concept, but this is more of a forced, like to survive, these billion people opted to go into this virtual reality state under the ground. So their bodies are underground, but their bodies are being suspended in these racks. They're like draped in plastic wrap, and they've got feeding tubes and breathing tubes and stuff like plugged into their bodies, and their minds are living in virtual reality. And the idea is of the brilliant people that came up with this concept was to have them live underground, at least be able to survive for long periods of time while the earth heals itself. And then the idea is like computer systems would just sort of keep testing the earth, the air quality and the quality on the surface of the earth, and then it would revive all these people automatically at a time when the earth is ready to be repopulated, right? But we're in the middle of that. So I don't know how many years in we're that, let's figure that out. But somehow this guy got revived, and he's walking the face of the earth, and he's got a hacker, an unknown hacker has released him, and he's walking around in this bodysuit, which protects him from the pollution. And then his thing is to this hacker is promising to be able to help him find his loved one, right? The love of his life is somewhere in Iraq somewhere. But in order to get that hacker's help, he's got to take a few people out, right? So he's got to physically go to these various like silos that are underground, find certain targets, that are hanging in their racks and take their bodies out physically, right? And he's not necessarily aware of what the power structure is about this, but he's just doing it because it's like this is a chance for him to find, the love of his life, who he was, estranged from. I'm gonna say that their relationship had dissolved, but in an unresolved way for him in his mind, and then this post-apocalyptic event, this nuclear fallout event happens, and now he was separated from her at the time, so he has no clue where she physically is, but he wants the chance to rekindle, right? And if he can find her, he can rekindle. He's like, oh, and then we could probably just live like in Earth, like Adam and Eve or something, like as the only humans who are actually walking on the face. So let's come up with a log line for that. And like I said, we're just gonna write something, and it's gonna be the last man to walk the face of the earth searches for his long lost love, but will be faced with life or death challenges if he really wants to free her. So I don't know if it's perfect. I don't care. It says what I want. That's what the story is going to it's definitely going to be about it. And I'm not here to write the perfect log line. I'm here to write a working log line, and that's my working log line. So themes, primary theme. So this is just from my template. This one says escape and transformation, journey from monotonous to one. That's a completely different type of story. So we'll say primary theme is achieving a dream, and probably being confronted with the dissonance. I like that word, dissonance, between a dream, between one's dream and reality. So, and by the way, this is like super duper spoiler. So this is a movie I intend to make. So if you really hate spoilers and you just want to see this movie once I get through it and make it, you probably should not be watching this video, because you're seeing me write the script. Now, if you hadn't figured that out already, then let me just help you along. I'm writing the script right now in front of you on YouTube. So if you don't want any spoilers, this is not the video. You should stop watching this video, because you're going to see everything. I'm going to write the whole feature right now. So go ahead and click off the video if you don't want that. But if you are still here, yes, there are going to be spoilers all through this thing. And I think one of the spoilers that I would like to do with this is that he has this idyllic version of what he thinks their relationship was and what he thinks it can be if he just finds her again and has another shot with her. But through this discovery, he's going to find out that his dream really doesn't mesh with the reality already from the past. So even the things that he remembers are not matching up with his dreams. And definitely the future that he thinks he's going to be able to create by finding his loved one is not going to be what he thinks it is. Because just to jump to the end, and I like to jump to the end because if I know where I'm going with the story, then it helps me to get there. So that's our timer as it's running. 1 hour and 8 minutes left. Seems like we've got lots to do, but I'm excited. As long as I have clarity, I think we can make good time. So there's our timer. Let's get back to it. All right. So we know where we're going with it. The primary theme is achieving a dream, or let's call it chasing a dream, hunting a dream. I like this. Hunting a dream. Hunting a dream, being confronted with the distance between one's dreams and reality. Secondary theme, The secondary theme, I think will have to do with. Okay, so here are this example on community and belonging, the importance of finding like-minded individuals and the strength that comes from collaboration. Um, I think the secondary theme would be like things may not be what they seem at face value. And I think that's something that I'm going to have going through the entire movie, where it's like, how did he survive the war? Maybe that's not what he thought it was. Who's the person talking to him? Who's the hacker who's helping get him the information and giving him these hits, right? These rack hits. Why did the nuclear fallout happen in the first place? Whose idea was it to even create the racks in the virtual reality? All of these things are going to be like unraveling the reality versus what they seem to be at face value. So that's going to be our secondary theme. The conflict theme, and then here's our conflict theme: extreme challenge women face in achieving their goals and navigating. That's our example, which I just have stuff in there to help me. This is to help me not have an empty outline, but just to have something, and then I can change it to the real thing. But the conflict theme would be extreme challenge of being alone while pursuing, while the world is against you. Right? So that's the conflict. It's literally just him, and everything else in the world seems to not want him to achieve this. And the emotional heart of this movie is just going to be like how far this poor guy will go to save the love of his life. Right? Which I'm just going to say right now, this is going to be a tragedy, because I don't really like the straightforward story. So this is going to be a tragedy where he's going to be going so hard to do everything to like find this woman that he's in love with and save her, only to find out that this relationship, she just doesn't want to be with him. So imagine you do all that and she's not interested to be with him. And not only that, she kind of hates him. So that's going to suck at the end. So there's another spoiler. All right. So our treatment is, Hunt, who is the only person and walking the face of the earth. And this, I'm just going to really stream of consciousness type. So just go with me. Walking the face of the earth after having been awakened by a hacker who gives him a protective suit remotely. This is a person Hunt never sees and only hears in his earpiece. Hacker, that's what they're going to call him. Hacker gives Hunt assassination missions to take out specific people targets who are suspended unconscious in these silos of underground racks, feeding tubes, and life support while they live in virtual reality, permanent state of 1 billion people are down there after a hacking disaster caused multiple nuclear reactors to fail and leak, killing 7 billion people and forcing the remaining 1 billion people underground into these silos. Hacker has an agenda to take out the leadership while they are sleeping, and uses Hunt to do so one assassination at a time. The movie goes into gear when the leadership realizes they are being eliminated. So they wake up out of VR, but their bodies are still asleep. It's like they go into some kind of VR council room, and while they can't revive their bodies, they can activate remote robotic systems, which they send out in force to hunt down Hunt and stop him from killing them. All the while, they are tracking the hacker to find out who this is doing this and how, and to take them out as well. So there's a detective-like investigation portion or story of this all. Hunt goes along with the assassinations in order to get information from the hacker to find his long lost love. Let's call her Zazie. S-A-Z-I. So Zazie. Hunt Zazie, his long lost love Zazie, by having the hacker hack old records from the world before the post-apocalyptic event that forced everyone underground. Hunt is the only person at this moment, the only living person at this moment with the special suit and ability to survive above ground. Okay. So I'm going to keep going with this because I just want to get out all my ideas. I don't really care about the order. I don't care about any of that. And because I'm experienced with ChatGPT, I know it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what order I really write things. It just, it will just get everything, and then it's going to help me organize it. So this is really good for me because it allows me to just get the ideas out there very quickly and without being bogged down by the organization part of it, because I can always figure that out later. And let's look at our time. We're at 57 minutes and counting down. All right, so Hunt's this only living person with a special suit and ability to survive above ground. Okay, action sequences in the middle as Hunt races to survive while being chased by all manner of androids and AI-driven war machines, robots, drones, jets, whatever else would have been developed in this futuristic time. They are all led by a singular, I'll call her Huntress, let's say Huntress android, who is an actual person living in the racks, but whose mind is remoted into the android body, recruited by the council for the special purpose of finding and killing Hunt. She has been chosen for this job because of her particular ruthlessness and persistence, as demonstrated even before the event, the Fallout event. Okay. Ultimately, it turns out in the end that Zazie is the hacker using an AI altered voice to sound like a man. She uses Hunt because she knows him better than any other human. Plus, he has military background and the skills to pull off the assassinations. Why is she doing this? Prior to the event, Zazie was a virtual reality developer at a high level, which gave her access to the project to create the rack environments for the 1 billion people. And with that access, she was exposed to levels of corruption in who was chosen to be saved, and made it quietly her mission to take down all those corrupt leaders. She wasn't even a hacker prior, just technically savvy as a VR developer, and learned to hack after the event with the help of AI to assist her. The only starting point she needed to achieve this was the initial clearance to higher levels of access to the VR world, since she was building it, large chunks of it. Once she built in a back door to awaken herself, setting a future timer, she bit by bit by bit, learned to gain more and more access. Her primary driver is to achieve total freedom from any types of control, including the control she felt in her relationship with Hunt. Hunt never understood this, and never understood how resentful Zazie was becoming in their relationship by feeling imprisoned by his expectations of what love and their relationship should look like, but only from his perspective. She eventually left him in his mind with no explanation. But in her mind, there had been ample explanation that was never received on his end. the final moments of the movie, information as the hacker in Hunt's head, trying to find Zazie. She reveals bits of information to him that contradict his idyllic view of what they had together. And as, for example, asking Hunt to give her more information that could help her as hacker to find his loved one, Zazie. But as they discover more info, Hunt becomes increasingly frustrated because the data they are finding doesn't align with the dreams he has been harboring about how beautiful he and Zazie were together. Once he gets to the oasis above ground that Zazie has created, and understands how wrong he was, Zazie's mission is complete in a practical way and an emotional way. He's taken out all her rivals, and he's come to understand where he went wrong. At that point, she shoots him in the face so she can be totally free of him. She does give him the choice to leave on his own, but ultimately shoots him because he refuses to give up on rekindling something that simply isn't there anymore, and maybe never really was. Okay. All right, so I think that's good enough. I mean, that is really all the stuff that I have in my head about what it needs to be. It's not really everything I have in my head. There's probably more in terms of detail, but that really is the full story. So that's the kind of the beginning and the end, or at least it's the the package of it. I'm going to let ChatGPT do its thing to give me more of the structure and the detail. But let's keep going through this document real quick, and let's do a little bit of a time check. So we have 42 minutes left. I've got the whole story in there at the very least, but now I'm going to give it some more context and flavor. And like I said, this development of the treatment is the longest part. It has to be, because this is where where we're developing the movie, and hopefully this can get going fast enough once I get through this document to be able to still hit our deadline of writing a feature film in less than the time it takes to watch one. So here we go. Let's keep going. All right, tone and style. Tone is a blend of mystery, drama, and okay. This is just from the templates. It's really unrelated. So let's just say gritty, futuristic, epic, visually slick, which I know seems to contradict the gritty part, but I think you can have both. Like Ex Machina in slickness, but also like Elysium or District 9 in grittiness. So lots of tension. Constant pressure, nerve wracking tension. Very much it's like a puzzle to be solved. Very much a mystery that needs to be solved for the main character to reach his goals. Really, everyone is solving their own mysteries to achieve their goals. Okay, visuals. Let's see. Again, the word gritty post-apocalyptic. Sparse, but also futuristic. Beautiful and epic above ground, with the lack of people. Sound design. Let's call this tense backing music. Urban sounds, definitely. Look at me, I'm urban. Shot styles. Wide, empty, lonely, beautiful. Lots of space. Equipment. AI tools. Locations. Okay. So locations. Yeah, Bonneville Salt Flats. Let's use Atlanta. I like using Atlanta because I'm from Atlanta. So let's feature Atlanta. Atlanta, when they're city scenes, when there are city scenes, Bonneville Salt Flats. We'll say like underground silos. An underground silo might be out there. The underground silos, you could have just call those rack rooms of the 1 billion unconscious people living in virtual reality. These silos are spread across the globe. Each might house from 10,000 to 1 million people, depending how it was built. This is why it is so hard for an isolated individual to travel and find specific people. Let's even add in here. It's hard to find specific people because names have been encrypted for security, and where they are is hidden in multiple databases. Not easy to find the info. Okay. Right? So we're gonna, the protagonist Hunt. I'm not gonna think about NASA right now. Hunt, military background, multiple tours of duty. He's a weapon. He's a weapon by training. What makes him compelling and relatable? His persistence and belief in love. To save his woman and belief in true love. Internal conflicts. What internal, external conflicts? External conflicts chased by robots and the lead android, Huntress. Internal is creeping realization that his dream of his true love isn't what it was cracked up to be. What does he yearn for? What's holding back? Ideal love dream. Reality holds him back. As what he wants exists only in his mind. It takes two to tango, and she doesn't want to tango. Greatest fears: losing his dream, losing hope for his dream. That's what's kept him alive against all odds. How does his motivations evolve? How do his motivations evolve over the story? As he learns, as he reconciles with reality, his motivation changes to hoping to change reality then to what he wants. Zazie, his former lover, doesn't want the same dream that he wants. She wants freedom at all costs. Okay, how does this guy inspire empathy and imagine admiration? By using, giving everything he has. To make his dream come true of saving Zazie, who doesn't need to be saved, but he only finds that out later. Pie in his face moment. We feel for the guy after all he's done to find her, only to not be wanted by her. Zazie, described above in, we'll just say Zazie. Let's describe above. Okay, and so there are a lot of things in here, and I'm only gonna fill out the minimum of what I think. I think at this point we're really getting the point. I will let ChatGPT come up with names for any of these other people. Right now it's Huntress, and I'll even say, or try another name. Huntress, remotely guiding an android as she hunts. She's doing it for wealth and privileges in the VR society. She will win the freedom to go back and forth, below and above ground, freely, using the android suit if she completes the mission. Allies. So allies would be hacker, who is an ally until the end, and he discovers she isn't. His AI drone companion that flies along with him and supports him in battle and in his travels. The AI is his best friend. Talking with the AI. Before hacker started reaching has kept Hunt sane in his solitude above ground. Okay, quick restroom run. I guess I'll edit that part later.
Because you're in this mode, so now you're like giving. You gotta give blow by blow of everything that's going on. You can't just go to the bathroom. Right. He's like, I guess I'm gonna edit this because the sound is gonna be pretty intense. Please don't. It's definitely authentic, yeah. Yeah, you're not a machine. Everybody's got to poop. Probably can.
Honestly, any of you who have stayed with me
Probably will be able to ride this out. So, all right. We're back. Let's do a time check. We got 23 minutes left until this feature film timer is done. And we're supposed to have a feature film by that time. So I still am an optimist and believe we can do it because I have a lot of the information in there. And at some point I'm going to pull the trigger and have and move into ChatGPT. But I do want to point out that if we think about the copyright stuff, if you watch my video on copyright and how you're supposed to have a significant amount of human contribution, this is a significant amount of human contribution. At this point, I'm not even in ChatGPT. I've got a whole story. It will be very difficult for someone to make the argument that this is not my story and that I didn't have a significant human contribution. And more importantly, when I brainstorm stories, I do come up with all this stuff like this is how I write my scripts, even if I'm the one typing them manually. But let's go ahead and just see what we got here. So we got our protagonist, we got the love interest, as he is described above, antagonist, huntress, allies, or the hacker and his AI drone companion. I'm going to put in parentheses here, needs a name. That fly with a Y, that flies along with him. All right, emotional anchor. The emotional anchor is Hunt gets visions of his past relationship that keep him believing it's possible to recover that state of happiness. As he gets more information from hacker, searching for Zazie for him, he finds conflicting data that shows his memory of their relationship has been tainted. Okay, so I've got all these questions. Well, unanswered questions. Tragic ending for the protagonist, but lots to think about. Very similar to the ending of Ex Machina. Kind of unsettled, but introspective about the nature of relationships and if they really are reciprocal. Sure. Okay. Obstacles and stakes. So let's unsettled, introspective. I think we're at the point where we're going to go ahead and put this into ChatGPT. Potential for sequels, not worried about that. These are just stuff that I have. I think I talked about this up top, so I'm just going to delete like a lot of this stuff. Okay, the structure, save the cat, beat, combine. We'll still go with this. I like this. I like save the cat because of its like very clear beats. I think it really works for an action movie. And then combined with story circle because that gives us a character focus on that main character who's really the main person we want to focus on. This is a very clear, like if you think about like I Am Legend, where it's focused on one person specifically and their character arc and their story. This is one of those. Like even a Castaway with Tom Hanks, very much focused on the one person, and then he talks with Wilson, right? Wilson, as his, it's more just a sounding board for the main character. So that's similar to this. I Am Legend, I believe he talks with his dog, right? And in this one, he talks with his AI. So that's kind of similar in that way. Which the hero goes through a succession of terrible, near-fatal guidance from friendly helpers. Hacker and his AI are the friendly helpers. Okay, and I'm gonna erase all this because I think telling it save the cat in the story circle should be enough. And I'm gonna let the AI, ChatGPT, fill all that stuff in. I'm not gonna worry about shot ideas. I'm not gonna worry about prompts right now because we're not doing the images yet. So let's get rid of that, and that's it. So we are, who is Naomi? Like get rid of anything related to the template stuff. And actually, I'm gonna get rid of, just to not confuse things, I'm gonna get rid of anything anything that's distracting from this information. So if I haven't, a lot to think about. Right, so that one is answered. Yep. Let's get rid of audience should hope that Hunt finds Zazie and frees her from the racks. Hunt latches onto the trait of Zazie's that she's always wanted to be free. This is true. So he fashions himself as her savior to give her that freedom from confinement in virtual reality. He doesn't realize that Zazie has already freed herself. Hunt doesn't even consider the possibility that she could have done so. That's where his vision of Zazie is incomplete and flawed. The core of why it went wrong between them. Okay, like that. Story and world tone, we'll just get rid of that stuff. If you didn't answer questions, we'll just get rid of it. Victory, emotional core and themes, cool. I think I've talked about a lot of this in the treatment, so I'm going to just kind of get this out of the way so it's not causing a distraction when I put this into ChatGPT. So just get rid of all that. Boom. Okay, I think these things. What twists and surprises? Just cut all that right now. There we go. All right, so we got all this stuff. All right, so we are at a point where I think we're ready to get this prompt in here. So, write out the outline. So it's just as simple as that. I'm just gonna put everything in there. I'm gonna tell it to write out the outline, and then once it gives me that outline, I'm gonna place it in here. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's say Control All, and then let's put it in here and let's hit Enter. And let's see what we get. What I love about ChatGPT is the speed. Like, I'm literally the slowest component of this whole writing adventure. Me writing all my stuff is the slowest part of it. So let's see what it's got here. I'm just gonna skim through this quickly. Opening image, I love it. It's already got the save the cat opening image. Later it'll have final image set up. It's got all the things. It's got all the right pages. See, this is stuff that, isn't necessarily, I know this all stuff, I've read all this stuff, but it slows me down, the admin of trying to think of like pages. No, I don't want to think about that. I want to think about the stuff that I just thought about, which is just the story kind of stuff, and then have my writing assistant, ChatGPT, figure out all the detail of how to get a structure that makes sense. Okay, so we got empty cities, flashback from his past life with Zazie. Yep. Hackers, perfect. This is exactly where I wanted the film to start, because we first see him in his world, then we see the hacker's voice, right? Anonymous offering a mission. So let's go for that. Yep. Catalyst executes his first mission. Beautiful. Debate questions his morality, killing defenseless people. That's pretty challenging. It's necessary to bring down corrupt leadership. Right. So it gets him on board with that these people are evil, that's how you would get somebody to do wrong, right? You're just convince them that what they're doing is for the better. All right, so that's the debate part of it, where he's like not really fully convinced and engaged in the mission yet. That's like a typical save the cat, hero's journey type of thing that we're dealing with. So we've got that. Huntress tracks him down to the ruins of Atlanta. Beautiful. They break into two, deeper into the mission, are preparing to remotely control the robotic systems to stop him. Sees through the cracks in Hacker's net, but continues in hopes of finding Zazie, right? Fun and games part. This is why you go to watch the movie. This is the part in the trailer that made you buy the ticket. So high action sequences. Hunt takes down more targets, each mission pushing closer to the truth, intensifies her pursuit, advanced tactics and weapons, pieces together clues to Zazie might have a deeper connection to the VR system and the hacker. Tension builds as Hunt begins to lose his blind faith in his quest, but his desperation to find Zazie drives him forward. Midpoint, he accesses an abandoned government database. Hackers helping Zazie's involvement in creating the VR system. A revelation, Zazie is the hacker. Manipulated to take out her enemies while hiding her. His devil doesn't fully believe it yet. So that part, I need that to be near the end. So I'm going to change that. So don't let me forget. He's devastated, doesn't blah, blah, blah. Massive attack, blah, blah, blah. All is lost, which is the oasis. Yeah. So I like all of this, except for that the reveal of Zazie is too early. So I need that to be later. And the break into 3. So I need that to be right into the Dark Night of the Soul piece. So keep this outline, but move the reveal of Zazie as the hacker to Dark Night of the Soul. Okay. Boom. Go for it. Yeah, oh, that's fine. Violate our usage policies. There's always something. ChatGPT's censorship tries to keep you from, I don't know what, probably the shooting in the face part. But it doesn't matter, it's still redoing it. So it's redoing it, everything is pretty much of the same. Also calling the drone companion Buddy. I'm not gonna do that. Let me come up with a different name for Buddy. I don't want Buddy. I don't want that. Let's change, we're gonna change the name to Buddy. Break into 2, fun and games. Right, we're getting clues that she might have a deeper connection, but we should not reveal it yet. So here we're at the first of many planned hunters. Activates more resources, leads a massive attack. Buddy sacrificing himself to buy Hunt time to escape. Yeah, that's good. Because that's right before the Dark Night of the Soul. So that's what Buddy's the thing that's kept him sane the entire time, and he loses that. And then that's where we get a really emotional sort of B story going on, that relationship. Because then once he loses Buddy, then kind of all is lost. He doesn't have anybody else to rely on. And he can't really trust, he doesn't feel he can trust the hacker. So reaches the oasis, right? Yeah, the straight to the final says is supposedly located at the oasis. Stunning self-sustained paradise. Beautiful. It's above ground. That's exactly what I want. All right, so let's just change the name of Buddy, and then just let's write out like how the scenes would be. So change, give me 12 name ideas instead of Buddy. So let's do that first. Atlas. I'm gonna call Buddy Gips. Rename Buddy to Gips, which is from GPS, since Gips is remotely guided by the satellites that are still active in space. Gips. Come on, Gips. Let's find out here. It's Gips. And also, write out or list all scenes. List all scenes needed with short descriptions of each scene. All right, so the way our time is looking, it looks like this might be a little tiny bit longer of a feature than the 90 minutes, but I think we are getting to a point where it might not have to be that much longer. So, also, where we are in this, we developed the treatment, we generated the outline, we are revising the outline, and then we're about to get our scenes scene by scene, and then we're going to add detail to the scene. So that's where we are, and then we're going to generate the script scene by scene, and then revise manually in final draft. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So this is the outline for Hunt. All right. Okay. Seamless with descriptions. Opening image, flashback setup, hacker contact, first assassination, huntress activated, moral debate, first encounter, database discovery, salt flats battle, emotional confrontational, final choice. I'm good with these. So what I'm going to do right now, because I'm good with this outline and sort of, those are the sequences. Those aren't really scenes, but I am going to go ahead and copy that, and I'm going to put it into my Google Doc. And I'm going to put that into the outline portion of it. And I'm going to make a new prompt so that it doesn't have to remember everything. So that's one thing about ChatGPT. ChatGPT has, I'm on the Plus version, which has a 32,000 context token context memory. 32,000 token context is, like they say, it's roughly between 30 and 40,000 words that it's holding and in its memory. Now, if we look at a word count, this word count's only 2670. So every time I paste this entire thing in there, it's still able to remember like another 30,000 words on top of this. So we're not really anywhere pushing the limits on the memory. The free version has an 8,000 context memory. All right, we got a couple minutes here. Let's move things along. All right, let's update this prompt. So now let's write out. We don't want it to write out the outline anymore. We do want it to write out the outline. But include this sequence list and number actual scenes as they would appear in a professional screenplay be very specific about what happens in each scene within each sequence using one or two sentences for each scene at most. So right now I don't want it to go too deep. And I'm going to go ahead and copy the scene list with descriptions. I'm going to change that to be actually sequence list with descriptions. And then I don't have to put this anymore. That's twice. And then in the sequence list. All right. And then let's copy that whole thing in. And so what copying that whole thing in does is it's going to it's going to start the memory there. So if you think about the memory being if you think about the memory being 32,000 words, then if we start with this 3,000 words, then we've started it with all the fresh information and we don't have to worry about the old information. All right, so we have exhausted that part of the timer, but let's go ahead and let's run it back. And then we'll see how much over we end up going. Because I'm going to keep going, like I said, until I have a movie. And then hopefully I can get this under 2 hours then. But we just did 90 minutes. And so this movie needs more runtime to be completed. But let's see what ChatGPT's done for us in the meantime. So we got the outline for Hunt. No need to say at the beginning outline for Hunt. So let's just do that. So now it's gonna just hopefully just edit that in place. Yeah. So that's the beauty of it. Doesn't redo everything like it used to. It just edits it in place, which I do like. It's got all the stuff that I said. It's got the themes in there. Sequence list with detailed scenes. So we've got opening scene, flashback setup, hacker introduction, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 23 scenes. Zazi's goodbye, tearfully shoots. Oh, she tearfully shoots him in the face. I like that. So she's conflicted about it, but she wants to be free. She whispers his body goodbye, leaving his body in the oasis. Walks back into the oasis, fully alone, but free. The audience is left unsettled, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So offers Hunt a chance to leave peacefully. He refuses, clinging to his dream of rekindling their relationship. He's devastated. His idolized version of Zazie was never revealed. I mean, I do this sometimes. I read my outlines backwards I just like to know where we're going, and if the ending is good, like then the rest of it is has got somewhere to go that I think is where it should be going. But if the ending doesn't make sense or it's not where I want things to be going, then the rest of it is none of that really matters. I just need to know that we're getting to the place that I'm hoping to get with the story. Oasis reveal. He finds, I love it. So this is all correct. Gibbs has been updated. The council accelerates their efforts. Let's redo this and let's add in 2 names to the leaders of the, okay. Redo, add in specific names of 2 of the significant leaders of the council. Let's just call one Marielle. Woman in her 50s. Let's call this person nothing with an M. Let's do Joffrey. No, not Joffrey. That's like Game of Thrones or something. Let's do Brandon. Let's do give me 12 names for a man in his late 50s who reports to Marielle but covers a different division. Actually, I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna, because it's just, I wanted to edit it right in place. So let's just say, Marielle supervises robotics and warfare. She directly manages Huntress. Marcel, I want to think of like a Dutch name, Marcel Christian de Jong. Oh, let's call him, Christian de Jong. Deals with intelligence gathering. Think of who's that? JK, that guy. JK, that actor. Who's that actor? Older guy, often bald. Christian is Danish and reminiscent of that actor. Yeah, that should be enough. That should figure it out. Let's see what it comes up with here. So, what's going on here? Okay, what's ChatGPT doing? It's thinking. Okay, great. So, no, yeah, because I still said give the 12 name suggestions, but I already came up with a name, so that's fine. Christian de Jong. So let's skim back through what we've got here. Overseas rider, Christian de Jong, Danish were in charge of the intelligence gathering that under Marielle's supervision. Perfect. Dilemma. Keep his name Christian de Jong. All right. All right, so it just goes through and makes that update to everything. Ah, he modifies his suit. I like that. All right, there's clues. Salt Flats battle. Hunts resolve. Military experience reflect on his dependence on Gibbs. All right, so don't include the tone and style integration. Yeah, I mean, that's fine, whatever. Let's just go to, so we've got 23 scenes. So I just want to talk to ChatGPT for a minute. So let's say, like, for example, how many scenes are in a typical science fiction action movie feature length? $40 to $50 scenes. $50 to $60 scenes, 60 plus scenes. Okay. Update the outline to include 42 scenes and more detail. Okay, let's see what it does. Right. So this is going to give me my shorter scenes that fit more so the style of an action, of a sci-fi action. So I want to make sure that the scenes are quicker. So if you think about it, 42 scenes in an 82-minute movie, the scenes are slightly less than 2 minutes per scene. So some of the scenes will be very quick ones that go fast, and then we might have a few scenes that go 2 or 3 minutes at most. But yeah, so we want to do that. Okay, depth and pacing. Brief moment of calm, definitely want all that, but don't want that. Place the additional scenes into the correct order. No more mention of the tone and visual style. Just print the outline itself. Got it. Okay. All right, I'm just skimming through these to make sure we're still following the order. So I think the most important thing to note here is the approach has to be iterative in this way in order to get the right result. If you just try to go for the whole thing in one lump sum at once, it's gonna choke on it, and the coherence won't be there. So what I'm doing is I'm really putting a lot of effort into making sure that this outline keeps reflecting the things that I mentioned in my treatment as I go along, because AI will have a tendency to hallucinate and it'll start doing its own thing. And if I don't catch it, then it'll go off in a tangent in a different direction, and then too much of the foundation will be built on that wrong tangent. So that's why when I skim this, what I'm really looking for is just, are we still following the discussion and the outline that I've agreed to and not deviating? I also don't want it doing weird things like having the scenes be at the additional scenes at the end. I need them to be in the outline, in the right places, right? So what I'm going to look for now is where he's looking at the sun, so that pause moment should be in here somewhere. Narrowly escapes abandoned business, counterintelligence. It's just scanning here. Oh, he escapes by detonating a building. I love that. Explosions. Beautiful. Lots of explosions are good. The VR Council all of a sudden is the name of this thing. I can always rewrite that name later. I'm not really concerned about that. I just want to find I want to see that it integrated that calm moment that we were talking about. Second silo. Yeah, here we go. A brief moment of calm as Hunt watches the sunrise, showcasing his humanity and the world's desolation. So that's perfect. During the brief moment of calm scene, include a flashback to his relationship. And also only print the sequence of scenes. Don't even include the title. Sequence list with 42 detailed scenes. Just want the sequences and scenes. All right. Let's see. Let's make that update. It's it should still keep the sequence headers. Undo, or let's say redo, keep the sequence. Keep the sequence headers. There we go. Good. So now we know what sequences we're in our outline. Beautiful. This makes sense to me. All right, so the reason I'm spending so much time on the outline is because I know that once I have a solid outline, I have a good movie. It almost doesn't matter what I do after that. It's very, very hard to make a bad movie when you already have a good outline and a good structure to it. You can, in fact, have poor dialogue and poor acting and still have an engaging movie if the structure of the story is just moving along in a very tight and organized way that's coherent, that the audience can understand what's going on. I mean, we can all flash back to Star Wars, the original Star Wars. Dialogue's not that great in Star Wars. The acting was never that great in those original Star Wars movies. But because it was so well structured and the world was believable and everything that was built around it, it really moves you along. It is very much the hero's journey and it floats you right along. The pacing was really, really good. So if you have good pacing and a good environment that's believable, it's going to move everything along. And then to make it great, you obviously can elevate above that. But it's always good to start with a floor, the foundation that's solid, and that is where the outline is. So at this point, I'm very happy with the way this outline is. I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to go back to my Google Doc, and I'm going to paste it in to the section that is that's considered the outline. Right, I'm going to paste all that into the outline section. Let's just go up here. I'm actually not going to erase a lot of this because there might be some little bit of difference in how that was written. I'm going to put this at the end, right? There we go. I'm gonna put this at the end. And I think at this point we are ready to, we're gonna start doing scenes. And so this part's a bit manual, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do these scenes kind of like one at a time. And the reason I'm gonna do that is have been added back in. Content may violate. It's the shooting in the face thing. I'm not concerned because it's still doing it anyway. Did they get it wrong? Yes, they got it wrong. So give it it didn't violate the policy. Great. All right. So now I'm just gonna tell it to write out scenes. So write out scene 42, scene 41, because I don't think it really has 42 scenes. It just has 41 scenes. So I'm going to go back and forth manually and do this. I'm going to say write out scene 41 in proper script format, adhering to the details provided above. Just put a provided above, right? And so this is literally going to be my entire prompt. I just want it to write one scene, and I'm going to keep putting these scenes back in here because I know that it can hold an entire script and understand it, and that is what's going to keep the coherence of everything. So let's go ahead and do it. All right. Yeah, we put all the information back in, the title, all the stuff needs to go back in so it gets what is going on. And then from that, it should just work on scene 41. And in a few minutes, we will be able to have our feature film script, because now this is all just kind of a manual thing of just plugging it in scene by scene. And I am going to kind of skim these scenes just a bit to make sure we're still kind of doing what we're supposed to be doing. You can skim along with me. Yep, I like this. It's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna paste this back in here, and I'm gonna say write out scene 40 in proper scenes, adhering to the details providing above, maintaining coherence with the scenes around it or relevant to this scene that have already been detailed above. So this is important. So now I'm writing scene 40, and And if you made it this long, now you're really getting the trick, because this is where this is the magic, right? This is the whole thing, is using this back and forth method between ChatGPT and Google Docs. One, so that I maintain a record in Google Docs. So if ChatGPT craps out on me, their servers break down or whatever, I have all the stuff that I approved, that I'm happy with, saved in a separate place into a Google Doc. But then also I have this rolling approach to the prompt being at the end of it, but telling it to focus one scene at a time, so that what I result in having will be coherent. A lot of people think that you can just tell AI to write the whole feature script and you'll get it, and it will write a lot of it, but what you'll get won't be very coherent. But doing it this way, I'm keeping just like stepwise, adding to it, and that's how I'm keeping how I'm gonna have this thing maintain coherence. So it should now be running. Yep. So there it is. Oh, I have to tell it not to put scene 40 script format anymore. I'll do that. Script format. Don't write out the words script format. Right? Okay. I don't mind it having the word scene 40 in there, because that'll help me. And I'll be able to paste this into Final Draft and then just get rid of that. But let's see here. So the next scene is 41. There shouldn't be a fade out. Right? So fix that. Good. Copy that. And let's pop that into scene 40. And let's do the next scene. So let's go to 39. Proper script format. Don't write the herring to corrects the scenes around it or relevant to the scene that have already been detailed above. So now we control paste that in there. Hit enter. And let's let it do its thing. Scene 39. So this is going to go faster and faster as I know that the prompt is working, and it's listening to what I'm telling it to do, which I always have to double check, because ChatGPT will have a way of trying to go off pista. ChatGPT is really like a child in a way, right? It kind of like, it'll listen to you at first, but if you're not kind of supervising, it's pretty quickly going to find its own things to do. It does seem to have a mind of its own and want to go off in a different direction, and you kind of have to like bring it back. So wide shot. Why is it saying that? See, that's what I mean. So it was saying wide shot. Okay, so I need to say in there, don't include shot names. Use only spec script formatting. No direction. Wait, no, don't say that. Just leave it like that. All right, so I'm gonna do that. And then redo it. I mean, it's nice it wants to give me the shots and stuff. I mean, in a way, I probably, since I know I'm making it myself, I probably could keep that, but I'm not going to, because in the end, I know that I can also put it back in and do that when I'm building out the shots if I want to. So I would prefer if this is just fitting into proper script format. All All right, so let's copy this and put this back. Put this in as 39. And let's redo scene 40 without scene direction, without saying script format. Okay, do it. So it'll remember scene 40. I don't have to plug that all back in. I shouldn't have to, at least. Hunt stumbles in the oasis. Okay, so it did scene 39 and 40. That's fine, let's just make sure it did it right. Okay. Interesting. So we can still fix this, we can fix us. What I'm actually gonna do, because I like what has happened here, is it's got some dialogue in here that's improved because of me asking it to do it again. And I am going to include both 39 and 40 in this rough draft, so that I can combine them when I go through it manually. And then, so now that we have that, I am going to, let's get rid of that. So it'll kind of just pay attention to having both scenes. So now let's go to, we're gonna go to scene 38. Copy paste everything, close that. Right, and then our prompt is essentially write out scene 38 in proper script format. Don't write out the word script format, adhering to the details provided above. Maintaining coherence with the scenes around it are relevant to this scene that have already been detailed above. Don't include shot names. Only use spec script formatting. Character names and dialogue should be centered on screen. See, sometimes it does forget like those details. You gotta just remind it, like, hello, this is a script. Not that any of that will matter to Final Draft, because once I paste these things into Final Draft, it will know what to do with it. So interesting that it is. So scene 38. I do want it to say include the scene number. Include the scene number. Bold the names. Dialogue on the next line. Center the names. Center the dialogue. Parentheticals should be on a different line. I'm not sure why it's like kind of forgotten some of that stuff, but it's like changing the format. So let's see if it's gonna get it. All right. So it's not getting the centering. So I think that's just an issue with the update here. but it is getting it on the separate lines the way it's supposed to. So final draft will understand this. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm okay with this format. And now it is labeling my scene number the way I wanted without a whole bunch of extra words. I'm skimming. You did more than enough rest. Now I'm here. Sound the humming grows louder. There she is. She added crystal goes back to him. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So see how it's giving like a rich scene? Like if I had asked this thing to just do like a whole bunch of scenes at once, it wouldn't give me a full rich scene. It would try to shorten the scenes and go faster to keep it within a certain like word limit per message answer or something like that. But now, because it's only doing one scene at a time, it's taking the time to like give me a good scene. And I do think there's something to be said about it separating it each prompt, because somehow it's like it's putting all its thought energy into that scene only. And then I'm feeding it all the rest of the information that it needs to get that scene right. But it doesn't have to think about like all these other things at the same time. And I've gotten much better results doing it that way. So now I've got scene 38. And I'm gonna go ahead and paste that in. I just keep kind of like scrolling up and pasting it in. I probably could paste it out of order because it's a computer, and so it doesn't really, as long as the numbers are there for the scenes, don't really think it matters. But I'm not gonna do that because it matters to me. Then I won't be able to understand what's going on. So I'm gonna now change this to scene 37. And now I'm gonna start to do a little bit less talking and just kind of just paste and go through these scenes. Oh wait, let me get rid of that. Let me go back to here. Bam, let's see. So this is the part of the video where if somebody was like typical making a video, they'd already like accelerate this part. But because of the nature of this just being a real-time kind of deal, I am not going to accelerate it. So this is just all authentic. This is exactly how long it's taking is how long it takes. We've been going at this point for 2 hours by my calculation, right? Because we had a 1.5 hour timer. I set it and then I reset it, started a new 1.5 hour timer, and there's 55 minutes left. But we are already cranking out script scenes. And they're reading pretty well for me. Granted, it's a draft, so I'm just skimming. I'm just making sure the things are happening that I expect to be happening. And I'm gonna copy that and put that in. Copy that, paste it in. The fact that I'm going back to front, I don't know that I mean, you might wanna try it a different way and see how that works out. But somehow, to me, the logic of going back to front just makes sense because it just makes sense because it feels like writing a scene, knowing what the next scene is going to be, kind of work out a little bit better. Okay, scene 36. Boom. And this is where the fact of me having written so many scripts manually kind of lends itself to my patience. Like you're watching the video, you might be thinking, whoa, man, they're like, it's really super manual for you to just go back and forth and just do one scene at a time for 41 scenes. But this, compared to what I've done in the past, is typing every single word and every single line this is nothing. So I mean, this is really a gift that's been given. Everything's going to be grammatically correct. Everything is already following, the outline that I've agreed to. And so to me, this is a real fortunate situation to be able to do it this way and get through this. And, even if it is a 2 hour period that it takes to do this, that compared to a 2 month period is, pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and Control A that, and paste that in. go right to the bottom. Let's change that to 35. Let it do its thing. So as you notice, the prompt is going to keep getting bigger and bigger as I paste scenes in. And I do not have to continue to do them in reverse order. At some point, I could probably go ahead and do the first few scenes. And then that way, the scenes in the middle will have the benefit of knowing the ending and knowing the beginning. So I do think I'm going to start to do that. I think I'm going to keep going back to scene 30, and then I'm going to start from 1 and then go forward. All right, so that one's in there. Let's see what it's doing. So it didn't go into the, it's interesting. Hold on. All right, we're back. Yeah, so looks like we had some kind of technical difficulty where the phone, I certainly wasn't expecting this to be like a 3-hour extravaganza. But actually it works out for you because you're not gonna have the full 3 hours. But at some point, the phone basically ran out of battery right around the moment when, well, you know the moment because now we're just cutting right back in. So that moment, whatever that last moment was to now, is when it cut out. And the update on that is we were going through and doing the prompting left and right. We ran into a big issue. So I do want to reiterate what happened, just so that if you run into something similar, you understand what's going on and also understand this is an imperfect process. So I'll just take a second to speak to that, which is this, that, everybody kind of has this idea that like AI is some magic button that's just going to create you this like, complete thing. And there's no human intervention. But as you can see, the way we're going through this, there's a crap ton of human intervention, right? And especially to get anything decent, there's a crap ton of human intervention. It is very much worth it to me because I've written enough scripts to know how long it really takes to sit there and type out all these scenes when I already know what's going to happen in the scene, but I still have to sit there and do my little slow typing thing and just get it all, out there. And in the meantime, I have like 999 other ideas that I would love to have gotten into the story, but I don't have time to because I'm still just kind of slogging away at just the basic typing. I'm just typing. I'm a typist at that point, right? I'm a typist of my ideas. So I'd rather have ChatGPT remain the typist of my ideas, and I guide it, right? And I put in the things that I need to put in, stay in that creative zone. And so to some extent, there's still going to be work to do, though, like a lot of manual work, because here I am right now and I'm copy pasting back and forth. But I was going to tell you what the problem was. So what happened was at some point, I think ChatGPT sort of lost track of where it was in the outline. And so it just started repeating the last scene it had done because I guess it just didn't know what to do. So it just kept rewriting the same scene over and over again. It did that for about 3 or 4 scenes. But what I did to fix it, which you're going to notice in these prompts going forward, is I went back to this part of the outline here that you can see on screen. So here I went back to this part of the outline. So within the outline, what you'll notice now is everything says scene 26, scene 27, and then the description. So then what I'm doing is whatever scene I'm on to do the printing. So we're going to do 26 now, right? So let's go down to our prompt. We copy the actual description of the scene. Let's see, we copy the actual description of the scene into the bottom of the prompt, and that's named exactly the same above and of where it is in the outline. And so that seems to keep it on track. That seems to be working right now. So we are actually pretty much cooking right now with electricity. So let's go ahead and copy scene. Let me just use this one to copy it. So copy scene 26, click my placeholder start, jump to the beginning, paste that in there. Google Docs saves it for me automatically. I go to scene 25 in the outline, copy the actual words here of the description of that scene, right? So that it will be in the very last prompt, like right at the end, the very last thing that ChatGPT is gonna listen to from its instructions from us, right? And then we're gonna do the copy and paste again. And then when we run it, it should be writing the scene that's the correct actual scene, right? So here, there's a brief moment of calm. That's what's supposed to happen. He's gonna watch the sunrise, showcasing his humanity, the world's desolation. So let's see if it does it. He's on a rocky outcrop overlooking a vast, barren wasteland stretching to the horizon. The first rays of sunlight break over the jagged remains of the ruined city in the distance. His high-tech suit is scorched and battered, sparkling faintly in the stillness. He removes his helmet. His tired, dirt-streaked face exhales deeply, breath visible in the crisp morning air. For a moment, there is silence. His eyes soften as he takes in the beauty of the sunrise, a rare reminder of the world's fleeting serenity amidst its ruin. Still here. So there we go. And then he goes right into a flashback, which is exactly what I told it to do way back in the outline. So we are still in keeping integrity with what I was telling it to do from the beginning, because remember, we wanted the scene of calm and I wanted it to then go into a flashback to him and Zazie, right? And that's what it's done. So there's our scene 25, click the placeholder start, pop that scene in there, and then that is now saved into our Google Doc, so that if we do have a little mishap like we did before and ChatGPT starts nutting up or whatever, then we can always recover by going back to our Google Doc and resetting ourselves. So that is the reason for the Google Doc. It's very necessary. All right, so scene 25. So now we're just gonna have a lot of boring stuff happening because I'm just gonna slog away and get this thing knocked out. We are near the finish line. So if you want to just kind of watch along while I slog through this, or put on some music or something, I don't know. Whatever you like to do. Let's see. Wait, was this scene 25 or 26? Oh, that was 25. So I just redid. Scene 25. Let me get 24. See, we're further along than I thought. Look at that. Look at that. And like I said, even though this may seem like a lot of work to be watching it, from my perspective, this is nothing. Like this is awesome. That the fact that I can get this thing to do this for me and have it be telling the story that I want to tell is if this is the hardest it gets to put together a script. I'm loving it. As many of us writers know, one of the hardest, not the hardest things, but like the most painstaking, one of the most painstaking parts of the whole writing thing is getting that first draft out, because you've got the moment of excitement when you have the idea, then you start putting together the idea, but now at some point you're just slogging through to get it down onto paper. And that's where a lot of writers sort of kind of abandon projects, because it takes so much time and kind of like manual slogging to get to that first draft that, you could tend to lose sight of the plot and abandon the project, so that happens a lot right in that period. So I do think this is a great way to sort of keep that excitement of that initial excitement about the film, and then but keep that excitement into the revision part, because revising is usually very, very fun, because you've already got a whole movie in there and you're just like tweaking it and making it better. So that doesn't feel as sort of burdensome, because you're not kind of have the burden of getting all the words onto the paper. You're just actually, you're just actually creating at that point. So what I've found working with ChatGPT is I feel a lot more creative, because a lot of this stuff for me is what I like best to do, is what I can do now, as opposed to it's reducing the effort on the stuff that I really don't like to do as much, which is typing a whole ton. Not that I'm against typing. I mean, it's like, but as much typing as you have to do as a writer, it can get to be a bit of a bore at times. Yeah, and look, this thing types way faster than me. I wonder if anybody's kind of measured how many words per minute ChatGPT is typing when it does this. I feel like it's doing this only for our purposes too, because I feel like it's already got all the thing done, and it just puts it out in these lines just to make us feel like something's happening that's cool. It doesn't have to go that slow. I'm pretty sure it can go faster than that. So I should probably tell it to stop doing fade out at the end of my scenes. All right, so let's get the next scene. We're down to, keep forgetting, I'm getting tired, so I keep forgetting what scene I'm on. I'm actually further than I thought. We're on 22. All right, so let's get down here. Get it. And the other thing is, while this is all going on, my mind is sort of also thinking. So I am thinking about the story, because I'm skimming a lot of these scenes, and it's kind of just giving me feedback on the idea. And for me to get feedback on the idea, to see it in this form within only a few hours of even starting to write down the idea, because if you remember, we didn't have any script at all. We had nothing. We started from the treatment, and so now we're already at the point where I'm seeing scenes executed that were only thoughts, just like just a little bit ago, just within a couple hours. And so that feedback loop, that speed of that feedback loop, is giving me more ideas right now. And I'm able to be having these ideas because I'm not having to type all this stuff. So I'm actually just sort of scanning the outline, scanning the scenes, and getting actually some new ideas, or at least I'm brewing some new ideas right now. All right, so that was 22. So let's get that into place. We're almost there. We're about to hit the teens soon. We are about to hit the teens soon. All right. So this scene here, and since you missed some of that stuff of the thing, you also just want to, like, if you're going to be doing something similar to this, just make sure that you're checking that the action that's going on in the scene is matching the right scene number, because that's the thing. It really does need to match, or else the outline is not going to flow the way it's supposed to. It almost doesn't matter what ChatGPT writes in the scene itself, as long as it's adhering to the scenes and generally following the story. Because as long as it follows the outline, like I said, the outline and the structure is what makes the story happen. The detail of what happens in the scene can always be updated by you manually or not manually. You could put the scene back in, have it rewrite it, do it. It doesn't matter what process you do to update it, as long as the right things are happening in the right scenes. That's the most important part of this process right now. So, like, for example, I said Huntress, it said Right out scene 21, Huntress upgrades her android body, gaining advanced weaponry and faster mobility. She begins tracking Hunt more aggressively, right? So then I see here that we're talking about android modification chamber. Chambers dimly lit, cold and pulsing red lights, polished metal walls. Huntress stands motionless on a raised platform, her sleek android body hooked to an array of robotic arms and diagnostic tools. That's really funny because I literally already have a shot that looks like this that I generated in AI when I was working on the trailer. So I already have this scene. I already have this shot at least. And it can be expanded, of course, because here it's got technician drones hover around, or their spindly appendages clicking and whirring as they work. The hum of machinery fills the air. Beautiful hum of machinery, accompanied by faint bursts of welding sparks. Titanium alloy, all this other stuff. So this is it. She's getting upgraded. So we are still on the right scene. We are still on the right track. And that's what we really care about. Yep. We just cruise along. And before we know it, we'll be rounding home plate and scoring a home run. All right, so in this one, Hunt successfully takes out a second target, but finds clues suggesting Zazie may have been involved in the AR system, in the VR system's creation. So she wasn't telling him what she was doing at her job. What the heck, Zazie? Why are you keeping stuff to yourself, woman? You don't think I can keep up with your VR work stories? Come on now. All right, let's see if this matches. So the dimly lit chainer, he moves cautiously, weapon at the ready, terminals at the far end. Gibbs confirmed target location, target located directly ahead. His jaw is tight, glances briefly at the pods, his expression conflicted. Got eyes on target. Good, make it quick. Pulling life support now, life signs terminated. Target neutralized, moving on. Terminal beeps suddenly, catching Hunt's attention. He hesitates, then steps back to the screen, which now displays a series of technical blueprints and access logs. Hunt's eyes narrow as he scans the data. Wait, what is this? What are you seeing? Hunt scrolls through the files, his expression darkening. A familiar name flashes on the screen. Zazie Yorma, system architect. Zazie? She worked on this. She built part of this system. That's impossible. No, her name's right here. She was involved in building the damn VR infrastructure. Room's hum grows louder, a low alarm starting to sound. Hunt's HUD flashes a warning. Security breach detected. Gibbs, hostile response imminent. Hacker, we need to move. Send me an extraction route. Boom, moving on. This is exactly how an action movie should be. The right amount of time, introduce the information, and then something happens, they've got to keep going. So there's no time to like sit there and, and worry about it until later, because you got to survive. Love it. Love it. All right, so let's put that scene in. That scene is doing what it's supposed to do. We got the hint that Zazie's involved. What the heck, girl? What? What you been doing over there at the company? Making VR stuff? I thought you just made video games and stuff. Yeah, I didn't tell you everything. All right, I did not tell you everything, boo. You wouldn't understand anyway. Maybe I wouldn't. Maybe I would. All right, I'm getting loopy here. Let's go ahead and get this in. All right. We are into the teens. Oh man, the sweet smell of closing out is close. I'll be honest, the only thing I'm still worried about is that the closer we get to scene one, the more text, like raw scene text, is in the prompt that we're putting in here. Now, I know that ChatGPT advertises that the Plus account, which is what I'm paying for, the $20 a month, is supposed to have 32,000 um, tokens of context memory. And if I look at my word count, let's look at it real quick. Let's see our word count. So our word count's 14,981, and we're down to the last 20 scenes, right? So 14,000 words. We know that most screenplays are 20 to 25,000 words. So we're still 10,000 words away from the final, which looks like we're pretty much right on track with what it's supposed to be. So if we are getting the full benefit of the 32,000 word or token context memory, we should not have any trouble with the prompt growing to the size of a feature-length screenplay. It should still be able to take the size of the feature-length screenplay as a prompt and write one additional scene. Shouldn't be overwhelming to it. So far, it's doing really well right now with this growing prompt. But I'm just going to be honest, that's my only real, let's say, worry. It's saying we're at 62 pages, but those are like text pages, so that's not even what final draft is going to count. So let's move on from that because that's not really super helpful. Let's go ahead and grab scene 19 and let's work our way back towards the start of this movie. Okay. Scene 18, let's go get it. Do you start to feel the excitement of getting near the finish line? Like I am right now. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. I can't wait to like be able to say that like the first draft is complete. I'm not even showing the timer anymore because at this point the phone stopped recording it. All this other crap is going on, so I can't really. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know exactly how much time, or at least the amount of time that's passed is not going to be the same amount of time that's in the YouTube video. But it's been over 3 hours at this point for me, like as far as just straight through what's actually is taking place. So let me just spot check this one here. Hunt infiltrates a second silo and currently hiding in another being caught. Security looks tight. More advanced than the last one. Stick to the shadows. How do I get to the terminal? Okay, good. So we're still on track. Decrypting now. How much time before they notice? Not enough. Be fast. 2 hostile units, 15 meters in closing. He's got 2 friends with him. This is so fun. I love movies where AI is your friend. Like that's pretty cool. And we got a hacker who we're just calling hacker. And we got Hunt, who's being hunted, but his name is Hunt. Why not? All right, let's go back and let's put scene 18 into place right there before scene 19. It keeps saying, oh, I forgot to stop saying fade out because it's like it doesn't make it that much of a difference, but it is irritating. It's like I don't want every scene to say a fade out after it. So. All right, let's go get scene 17. This is kind of how I am when I'm writing too. I also I do get kind of excited when I'm getting close to the end. I start to feel that taste of blood, like I'm going in for the kill, you know, because I'm just getting there. I can tell that I'm within a reasonable amount of time to actually finishing, to like legitly finishing, and I get more. I want to dig in. And taste that blood. Let's go. Okay, and we wanted to add to we wanted to say don't add any fade outs. Don't add any fade out. Just that's it. Just don't add any fade out. Okay, come on. All right. Let's put that in there. Let's see, 17 should be, yeah. All right, this massive prompt. This prompt's pretty big, but it's just eating the prompt like it's a snack. It just doesn't. It's not really bothered at all. Honestly, the only issues I've had so far on the problem have been my own issues, which I needed to just be a bit tighter about labeling it with scene and then the number so that it wouldn't lose track of where it was. And then that extra tidbit of putting it in the actual prompt again. So it's just like that correlation between the prompt when I'm telling it what to do and the scene description in the outline part of it. If we were gonna take longer and write a deeper script and a more like go in more in depth with this, I mean, I would certainly encourage going even further with it, because right now we're dealing with a high level description, and I think that's the place where you could add more. You could go into more detail per scene. So in the way that I went into detail in the treatment, just in general about the film and what was going to happen, you could do that per scene before getting it to generate scenes, and then your scenes would be even more specific and detailed to the things that you want to have in them. I'm doing this sort of backwards, not really backwards, but I like this way of doing it, where I'm giving the descriptions to keep it plugged into the outline so everything fits. But I'm leaving room for me to rewrite. Essentially, I'm leaving rewrite room, and I'm also leaving room for ChatGPT to do its thing, right? So it's like within the confines of my outline and my descriptions, I'm letting ChatGPT do its thing, which is a lot. Like it is able to get a lot of the basic stuff in there that I would have put in there anyway. And it also even gets a lot of the basic plumbing that I probably might have overlooked. Like just things like, something about the holographic display, or, just little things that, that I would have just done differently. And I feel like it's better to have ChatGPT do those things, because it still gets the same point across. And then when I go in for the rewrite, I can focus on the things the nuances that I like to add. So I don't have to be kind of just in the plumbing of it. I can really be into the creative part of it, like updating the dialogue, giving him some, quirky humor, or giving him like a salty attitude, like making him be maybe more salty, than he is right now, or anything like that, right? So that's the fun part of it, and it does feel like I'm freer to just have more fun, actually. Which this stuff storytelling is fun. So, all right. So let's see. We've got 17 in there. Wait, let me just make sure. Intensifying kind of full autonomy. Perfect. Okay. A. As we plod away and approach the start, which is our finish. That's ironic. When your start becomes your finish. In a world where the start is the finish, one man and his AI worked together with their loving community to build a feature film script. Darian Donju in writing the script, starring ChatGPT as the compliant AI system, and YouTube in a cameo appearance. All right. I'm really getting loopy because I've been doing this for like 4 hours at least. Maybe even going on 5. I'm not sure anymore. I don't know. Anyway. Time started. Okay, is it doing stuff? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's doing stuff. There we go. Scene 16 is in the doing phase. So this is where Hunt decides to fully commit to the mission. Yes, the call to action. Modifying his suit with Gip's guidance to prepare for advanced threats. Yep. In the warehouse, blah, blah, blah. Structural integrity. Tell me something I don't know. What's the priority? Armor reinforcement, mobile core, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Can this thing fire? Can this thing still fire? Beautiful. So there's a fun little scene. So that's where the bonding. So that's where the kind of scene I'll probably go back in and definitely rewrite heavily, because it's like it's that bonding moment between that's we're building that relationship between Hunt and his AI gifts. Gifts, which is short for GPS. Come on, Gibbs. Come on, Gibbs. Give me a proper update. You know, you're referring to me like I'm an individual, but I'm really more like your whole team. So I'd appreciate if you give me the proper respect. You're an AI system, Gibbs. The fact that I'm even giving you proper grammar to even deem it appropriate to talk to you is already a lot more respect than you deserve. I'm offended. Are you, though? Do you really know what it means to be offended? Or is that just something that you mimic because your database tells you that that's what a human would do? Well, yeah, my database does tell me that's what a human would do. Okay, well then, don't try to guilt trip me with your AI mumbo jumbo. I'm not gonna write that into the script, guys. I'm just loopy right now. As we get near the finish line, I'm just loopy right now. But I'm really glad this is working. The consistency is there because of these scene numbers. The scene numbers really have to be consistently numbered and named. That was causing me an issue, and it lost us about 45 minutes to an hour, I would say, of lost time. Kind of recognizing what was happening and then coming up with a way to fix it. Got it. Oh, okay, just a little flashback to the development lab. Okay, just copy from here. So this is scene 15. Oh, so close yet so far. All right, so that's scene 15. Let's see here. Let's get scene 14. We are in Act 1, folks. We are in Act 1, folks. I'm just gonna pretend like this is not turning into this hugely massive prompt. I'm just gonna pretend like I don't notice that. And then maybe nothing will happen weird. Let's just keep moving forward as if this is just a normal size prompt. You know, we always have prompts that run, you know, multiple scrolls down the page. That's just a Tuesday for ChatGPT. Look at that prompt. Jesus, it's a whole script. And it is working though. So this is the kind of thing I'm going to rewrite. Halts the units approaching multiple signatures. I feel like this happens 8 or 9 times in the script where these units just are approaching. But that being said, it does create a sort of a cadence as like what everybody's role is like Gibbs is like the you know, detecting and getting the information, and then Hunt has to figure out what to do with that information, and then Hacker's like a navigator. Like if it's sort of Star Trek, then Hacker would be the navigation officer, the one actually flying, you know, and putting in the navigation, where Hunt would be the captain, deciding where to go. But it's a little different because this one's physical, but it still would be the navigator. And then you've got Gibbs would be the communications officer, who's getting like all the data and information in and feeding Hunt with the data that he needs to do his thing, to do his hero thing. All right, so let's go here. I'm really curious, like, who's all gonna watch this video, to be honest. Like, this video is now gonna be so long, but I committed to staying on until the whole thing was done. So now I'm just curious who's gonna stay there for this. I mean, I feel like I have belief in you guys. I think there are gonna be a number of people who actually decide to just watch it all the way through. I mean, you could turn this on when you're like working on your own project and you want to take a break and see how, somebody else kind of like slugs through a project. And then just let it play until you fall asleep and help me get those watch hours on my channel. We need to get this channel monetized. Okay. All right, focus up here. Let's see. All right, this is scene 14. Narrowly escapes by detonating by using Gibbs creative diversion. Let's see. Let's hope that buys us some time. So good, we're on track. That's what I want to know. We are still on track. So that was 14. Let's go for 13. I'm gonna end up rewriting a lot of the action scenes too. Like, I'm just gonna rewrite a lot of the action scenes. I just know that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Look at that. Oh. What? Why is it not saying? I don't like that. So when it starts to not say the scene number anymore. What? The Natural Symphony of the Oasis. What the hell? Let's see, did that end on something? Oh, wait a minute. Like scene 14. Scene 14 twice? What in the hell? The building groans, its light flickering erratically. Its light's flickering erratically. Oh, I'm deleting this. So I don't want to start losing the plot right when we're that close to the end. I'm literally just going to delete this one. And then he's ambushed by hunters in the ruins of Atlanta. Let's see. Oh, he's still on like a flash. Okay, so we might have run into a little bit of an issue here. All right, so what I'm going to do let's copy everything one more time. We might be hitting these context kind of limits because this prompt is getting large. I don't know what it's doing there. It kind of just gave me the end of the movie for some reason. So let's just make sure the prompt is right. Write out scene 13. Yeah. Let's see what it does. Let's give it another try. We can find a way back. So yeah, it's giving me a completely different scene than scene 13. So I think it's starting to hit its context limit. So what I can do is I can make the assumption that certain scenes here in the middle are not as won't help it keep track as much as other scenes. So what I'm gonna do is let's try to be creative here. All right, so this is treatment hunt. Let's just close everything. Let's say treatment hunt. Make a copy. Okay, and so this is treatment hunt. Rename it, and it's scenes 14 through 41. Right? And then let's rename this treatment hunt scenes 1 through 13. Right? But in order to make it all make sense, I'm going to keep some of the other scenes in there. So let's go from the back and let's keep the last 3 scenes in there, so it knows where we're headed. Let's keep, yeah, whatever is from here, let's keep all that in there. This is the end, you need to accept that, 36. Let's keep okay, let's keep all the 33 in there. And let's get rid of all the way down to like maybe like 21 or 23. Yeah, let's get rid all the way to all the way to like 23. Okay, let's keep 23. And then let's keep some of these 20. All right, and then 18. Through 15. Let's get rid of all those. So what we're doing is we're gonna shorten up the prompt. Sits at a workstation, holographic keyboard, VR interface. Let's hope that buys us some time. Let's get rid of all that. Right? All right. So we're back with a leaner thing. Let's go into a new ChatGPT. Let's freshen up, right? Hopefully its memory will be a little bit less distorted. And then let's go, like 13 should be queued up at the bottom already. So let's get everything. And let's tell it to write scene 13. Let's go. So our prompt is a lot shorter again. It's still long, but it's a lot shorter than whatever we were just trying to put in there. And so boom, Ruins of Atlantis, we're back. So yeah, we just hit its limit of how big it is. And I think this will be able to get us to the end, because we cut out at least 10 scenes or more, and we need to get 12 scenes added to this to finish. So let's do it. Yep, and I already read what it's supposed to be doing. Brutal cat mouse sequence. Enjoy your head start. Got it. So it's always funny how like ChatGPT will write you stuff that it's not really supposed to write you, but then it'll complain. It'll tell on itself. It's like this may violate our usage policies, but it's already given me the scene. So it's okay. Okay. So let's do her find for the placeholder. Placeholder start. So our scene 13 is in, and we're back in business. Let's go to scene 12. Go to the end, replace the scene and description, copy paste everything so it understands what the story is about freshly, understands our characters, knows who everybody is freshly. And knows how everything fits in. And later, when I want to make updates to it, a lot of the updates I may make manually in Final Draft. But another thing I can do too is just as I read through the script and I make notes about updates that I want to make, I could just make notes and then just add them to this document, right? And then just have that become part of the update prompt. Or no, I just add it. I'll add the updates to the prompt, but I won't. But the final prompt will be scene per scene. And then my notes will be scene by scene. So then I'll have like notes, update notes per scene. And then when I say now rewrite scene 12, it'll rewrite it then with those update notes. And then the other thing I can do is go back to the story outline and the descriptions, make the descriptions a lot richer. So, or just make the descriptions richer for whichever scene I'm working on at the time, and then have it, then rerun it, have it run the script for that scene, and then generally it will come out with a much better scene that's more targeted at what I'm telling it to do, and then I can go back in and manually write it again. So let's see. That was 12, and that's 13. All right, let's go get 11. Yeah, so we're definitely putting significant hours into this, but it is faster than trying to type it all out. And it's giving me things that it's like it allows me to not have everything be exactly the way I just, there's a heavy bias when you're a writer to how you write things. And a lot of times we're trying to get away from that bias. And this really, for me, helps me get away from my own biases in the way that I would word something or the way that I would write something. And then, but I'm strong-willed enough that I'm still going to go in. And if I go in and I want something to be worded a certain way, that's my style. I'm still going to do that. But this allows me to like choose where I'd like to be able to deviate from my own style. So I'm not always sounding the way I sound when I write. It's not always better for everything to sound the way I sound. Sometimes it really is better to just to mix things up a little bit. Okay, so that's scene 11. Placeholder start. Let's pop it in. Bam. Let's go to 10. We are in the home stretch. We are literally officially in the home stretch. And honestly, there's another aspect of this, which is like because of the energy that this kind of saves, because I'm literally about to have a draft of this story now. Um, I'll be able to get this into a novel form, whereas like sooner, because I'd be, I'll write this and then it might, on a typical screenplay, it might take a few months to get to the first draft. And then by the time I get to the first draft and do all this, I'm just happy I got done with the screenplay at all. Whereas with this, I'm still keeping a lot of energy, a lot of excitement about the story. I'm still actually excited about the story, to be quite honest. And I can use the template of the screenplay to be the driver of making this into a novel. I'll probably make a video about that, making this into a novel. If you just enjoy watching me for hours on YouTube, then I'll give you much more content than when I go to make this into a novel. But the point is, I'll be excited to make this into a novel because of the efficiency of making it into a script, being something that's not, like, let's say, draining all my energy. I still have energy left over to want to make it into a novel, which is like, scripts are my primary medium, but for more people to experience the story, I wouldn't mind if it is a novel as well. And so this kind of makes it plausible for me to even think about achieving that without feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like just do like a lifetime worth of typing to get there. Typing is cool and all, but it's also not that cool. It's also not that cool. All right, underground silo, conflicted, targeted biodata. Yep, vast and sterile. Perfect. Pod 731, far side of the chamber. Nice. So that's scene 9. Okay. It's no longer giving me the fade out. I'm really happy about that. That was about irritating. I'm not trying to fade out on every damn scene. All right. Scene 8. Okay. This is all just very manual right now. Oh man. I just pressed Control C instead of Control V, and now I have to go back and get 8 again. So let's do that. Okay, so scene 8. That's just being tired. So scene 8. And then we go to the end. And let's make sure we paste this time instead of copy. There we go. Let's Control A. Let's Control C. Let's Control V. Let's enter. All right, our prompt is getting long again, but I think it'll make it. 7 scenes. Everybody, come on. Everybody, hold your breath. Give good vibes. Put out good positive vibes for us to get back to scene 1 without having to do a kind of a reboot of a refresh. But yeah, as you can see, I am giving you troubleshooting methods because ChatGPT does nut up every once in a while, right? It kind of hits its context limit, it starts to get confused. If the thread gets too long, it's trying to remember everything in the thread. There's a lot of repetition in the thread. And then it just starts repeating stuff. So the good sign of that, whether if you don't know what's going on, is like if it's repeating the same stuff a lot and not listening to your prompt and just kind of like wigging out, then you know that it's probably like a context memory issue. And if you kind of rejigger your prompt, get rid of any fat that you don't need really in your prompt, and go ahead and do a streamlined version of your prompt, and then start a fresh ChatGPT thread. That typically will get everything back to acting right. And that's assuming that your prompts don't have any conflicting information. That's why I kind of cleaned up earlier. I hope that part was caught on video, where I went back and I cleaned up a lot of the stuff, like having duplicate sequences listed, like the summary of the sequences and then the actual sequences and then the scenes and I was like, you know what, let me just get rid of these extra sequence listings and everything. So it's just sequences now, scene numbers, and description of scenes. That's it. So, hold on, this is 7. Hold on, what did I just do? 8. So this is where we're supposed to be. So let's copy that. Let's get over here. Let's paste that and let's run it. Yeah, look how big the prompt is getting. It's really getting up there. Okay. Right, this is him kind of now. You ready to listen now? You're gonna waste more time. I'm gonna have to figure out why this Gibbs is like weak and steady all the weak, as light as weak. He's like a kind of weekly kind of a thing the whole time. What kind of assistant is that? Abandoned shelter. Zazie, I'm coming. So that sets up his motivation. He needs to get to his woman. All right. Zazie, I'm coming. Let's go to scene 6. I'll probably make major changes to this. I mean, I always make major changes, like when I'm in multiple drafts and stuff. But that's the fun part, honestly. When you've got a whole story in there, but you're just rejiggering it. I like that. I like making the story tighter, different, adding a lot of extra nuance and all this other stuff. That part is really, really fun. And me getting to a first draft pretty quickly is so good. I'm just checking to make sure it's still doing what it's supposed to. Yeah, key figures in exchange for beautiful. But yeah, this kind of gets me to the part that I like to do more. And I like the ideation part. I like the brainstorming of the treatment part, the development part. I like that a lot. And then I like the revisions of the script a lot. Like, how do I make it tighter? How do I make it better? I don't so much like the just slogging out the first draft part. Although I do enjoy a lot of that, though. Like, the things I like about it are more just kind of the same things I like about revising mode. So once I've sort of written a scene and I'm looking at it and I'm, that feels like revising. But just slogging it out, to me, it's not necessarily the most fun part of it. Just because the ideas to me move too fast compared to the typing speed. So if my typing speed could be as fast as I was thinking of the ideas, then I think I would enjoy it more. But it's an issue of I feel like I'm losing ideas because they're racing away ahead of me while I'm still trying to just type in the first few that were good that I heard, and then the other ones are coming, they're coming, but I'm not capturing most of them. That's how I feel when I'm in writing mode, in the first draft writing mode. Whereas when I have ideas in revision mode, because I don't have to type the entire scenes, I can just jump to different scenes, make the change. If I get an idea, I can it's just a quick change. It's not a whole rewrite of a scene necessarily. It's like, have her say this and have this beat over there and have that be over there. It's easy to make those quick updates. So I think the reason I like that process more is the execution is much, much closer to the idea. So the idea and the execution are much closer together than idea and execution in the writing phase, because you just have to really write physically everything, and that gets in the way of the speed of thought. So, okay, what we got going on here? Scene 6. I can't even remember if I already put that into the thing or not. Do you guys remember? Let's see. Let's go to placeholder start. Scene 6 is already in there. All right. Well, let's just go to scene 5 then. Let's go to scene 5. Hunt hears the hacker's voice for the first time coming through his earpiece. The voice is distorted and anonymous. Curious how many people are going to see coming that the voice is Zazie. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will. But I'm one of those, I don't really care. I'm not trying to trick everybody to the point that they can't figure it out. I know that a lot of people won't figure out that twist. And I know that maybe some people will. I don't know what percentage that is. But it's still a twist for the main character, and that's what, it's not like I'm not trying to like trick every audience member, but I definitely am tricking the main character who definitely won't think that it's his partner. Just because of who he is and how he sees her. He just wouldn't think of her as pulling off. It's not that he disrespects her, it's just he sees her in a limited version of herself. So he doesn't see the complete Zazie, and that's why he would be surprised that she's orchestrating this diabolical of a master plan. You know, he knows she's smart, but you know, sometimes you just don't get how smart certain people are. He's kind of in that phase. He's not picking up quite how brilliant that she is. So this is 5. We are really close to the beginning, folks. We are close to having a complete draft. A complete readable draft that is coherent. That's the exciting thing. This is going to be a coherent draft, a coherent story. I'm sure I could be copying and pasting faster. Like I keep getting sort of distracted because of you, because I'm thinking of like what your experience is like and what you're kind of receiving or picking up, and that's distracting me because I'm supposed to be doing this, but then I'm also thinking about you. I'm thinking about you, YouTube. You're with me on this writing journey of Hunt and his crazy ex-girlfriend. Woman scored, man. All right, so wait, placeholder start. Boom, scene 4. Go to scene 3. Let's go to scene 3. You do it, you gotta do it. Gotta go to scene, gotta do it, you gotta do it. Do it, do it, you gotta do it. Okay. Bam, we are almost home. Let's see if ChatGPT holds its context memory for this home stretch, folks. Abandoned part. I'm going to be checking this thing. Hidden cache of supplies. Narrowly avoiding collapsing structure. Gifts alerts him to approach surveillance drones. To approach again with approaching surveillance drones. Jesus Christ. There's got to be something left. Right. So he's doing this. So this is where in the kind of like establishing what his life is like at this point in this post-apocalyptic world, looking for food, doing all this other stuff or whatever. And then something happens that changes his world and forces him to make a decision. These are classic story structures. This is classic story structure. I love classic story structure. I think it works. I think it works. I think it's worth getting good at telling a story with classic structure before wanting to deviate. Because what's the point of deviating if the proven structure works, and then deviate when it is necessary based on the story being told to deviate, but don't just deviate because it's like, oh, this is, I don't want to tell it the tried and true popular format way, just like, don't just deviate out of the purpose of deviating, which is what I think a lot of people do. I don't want to tell, but like, Pixar movies and things, a lot of those movies really follow the formula of storytelling. You can really recognize a lot of the elements of the Save the Cat, 3-act structure, all those things in Pixar stories, and just a lot of stories, a lot of Hollywood stories, and it works. You know what I mean? It's like, if your thing is to get somebody to be engaged with a main character, and want them to win, want them to achieve whatever goal they have, feel threatened by the challenges that get in their way, live with them as those challenges externally force them to face internal obstacles and overcome those obstacles, only to find out that things have still been made worse in the dark night of the soul, and everything is terrible, to then keep on pushing forward and finding it in themselves to reach a different level of understanding or insight about themselves, to actually make a change, and through making that change, push through that final dark period and get to the resolution, a changed person for the better. That story sequence, it really works well. It works really, really well, over and over and over again. So to deviate from it, I think, should be an intentional thing that has a purpose other than wanting to be contrary. Like, I'll deviate in a heartbeat, but not because I want to just not have something that has a recognizable structure. I deviate because the way I'm telling the story works better with a deviation. But it better make sense, like, because it's like, anytime you deviate from that structure, you do run the risk of, like, how good of a writer are you? Do you really know how to deviate from the proven structures but still keep viewers engaged and keep everything engaging? That's not a no-brainer, right? It's definitely one of those things where deviation could actually hurt your film. You get dead space in your film, or when you lose track of, you're not really sure what the main character wants, or you're not relating to choices that they're making because they seem out of character with their motivation, or they have a motivation which hasn't been made clear, and so now you don't really know what they're trying to do or why they're trying to do it. You lose people, and so you got to know why you're deviating if you're going to deviate, not just deviate just for deviation's sake. Then you got to know how that is going to work for your film even better, how you captivate your audience even more because you deviated. I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I will say that I've done enough scripts that didn't deviate that I feel I deviate when I feel compelled to deviate, and then I know it's time to deviate because it's like, no, I'm really feeling I should tell this story in this other way because this is gonna work, right? So we ran into its limitations with scene 1. Oh my goodness. it starts talking about the final scene again because literally the last scene got too big for it to remember what the heck is going on. So what I'm going to do in order to achieve this is I am again going to go in here because I don't really want to lose anything that's been written or like with the prompt. So I'm going to make a copy of this one. And I'm going to rename this one 2 through 13. I'm going to rename this one I'm going to name this one 1. Okay. And I feel like I could get rid of the scenes that are right behind it. Well, I'll keep like 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'll get rid of scene 6. Because I don't think this is really going to affect too much it writing scene 1. And then I'll just go all the way to 23 and just delete all of that. Yeah. And go to the end, Control A it, Control C it. Let's go ahead and make a new chat window. And let's get a fresh prompt in there. Just for scene 1. Scene 1 is a diva. Scene 1 wants its own ChatGPT thread. It's a diva. It's a diva. Desolate City Day. Yep. That's what it's supposed to be. Stuffs this can into a pack. Continuous. So that's considers it part of the scene. Acknowledged. Scanning route. Oh, I love it. He banters with his AI drone companion. And we have scene 1 in there, folks. Yeah, we did it. Come on. You can't hold us back. Yeah, placeholder start. So there is scene 1. And folks, those of you who stayed with me, we have got a script. So now that being said, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull in Final Draft, which has been patiently waiting to be a part of this adventure with us. And I am going to, so here's where we are. We developed the treatment, which if you're doing this like not as a demonstration and really going into it, this is one you could even go much further with this, right? So this is the part where, you know, you could go further with the developing of the treatment before the generation of the outline. So you could actually do the treatment, put it into ChatGPT, have it expand and give you ideas, expand on it, generate the outline. We revise the outline to get it the way we want it to. You can add detail to the outline scene by scene. That would be a good way to exercise more control over what ChatGPT does. And then once all this has happened, generate the script scene by scene. And I showed you how to do that, to painstaking detail, how to do that. Creating this Google Doc all the while, which is keeping you grounded and keeping you from losing things. Put it in a Google Doc so you're not dependent on ChatGPT, because as you can see, ChatGPT sometimes reaches its context limit and just starts to like wig out. It just starts to wig the F out. Just starts wigging out, right? So to avoid any repercussions from the wig out, you keep the Google document intact. keep adding to it. Anything that's valuable that you are kind of like locked in on, add it to the document so that all becomes part of the prompt. And then don't worry about the prompt getting too big, because if it does, then you just start a new ChatGPT chat and then keep going with it. Eventually, I think context memory will not be an issue, especially after what DeepSeek just recently did by developing a model more efficient than the top US models, ChatGPT included, Anthropic, Google, with a system that costs a fraction of the price of what those companies have invested in their AI models. And it's open source. Everybody has it now. So it's the ownership of the world. I love it. That being said, I think we will soon get to a point, maybe this year, where they'll release a version of the model that's got a lot more context memory to it. And then it'll be a little bit less necessary to have a separate doc, although I probably will continue with that practice of doing that, just because it's safer. Also for the copyright issues, like you said, for tracking what the human contribution was. You know, the fact that the document predates the ChatGPT thread, I think, is really important. Even if it predates it by 30 seconds, that's enough. It's got to be first. So that if anybody ever tries to come back and say, well, that idea did not come from your head, you just purely got it from ChatGPT, you could say, no, here's my document, here's my timestamp. I started with it as a manual, treatment in a doc, right? I got my ideas down, and I had ChatGPT help me refine my ideas and flesh out my ideas, and I continued to contribute to that as it went along. So that all that will be sort of captured by your treatment. And then we're on the part where it's revised manually in final draft. So like I said, we're taking it to the first draft and then getting it into final draft. We're not going to sit here and do the full revision, because I'll be revising for quite some time. But I just want to show you getting it into final draft, and I think that would be a good stopping point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the scene numbers in there, and I'm going to grab all scenes that are in order. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 33. All right, so let's grab that, because that's scene 1 through 5. And then we're going to go ahead and paste that into our document. And look at that. It recognized that these are characters and this is dialogue, and we're good to go. We can easily go back and like fix formatting and stuff, but it's not as hard to fix it, because a lot of it is already correct. But like, for example, this hacker voiceover, let's see what it's got it as a parenthetical, and when it is a character, there we go, see? And this is a parenthetical. Oh, it does have that as a parenthetical. So whatever, so that's fine, right? For the most part, it's pretty good. The hacker sometimes is not okay. But that's something that's something you know what, I don't mind actually going through and just fixing those things, because I'm fixing those things while reviewing it, and that kind of starts me off on my revision. All right, so we've got scene 1 through 5. I'm curious how many pages this is all going to be when I put it all in here. All right, so let's go to treatment hunt 1, then treatment 2 through 13. So 2 through 13, but we need to go to 6. We need to go to scene 6 through 13. I'm pretty sure we can go further than 13 because I think I left like 14, 15. I think I have a few of those in there for the context purposes. So there's scene 5. Let's pay attention. There's scene 6. Let's grab scene 6. I'll just scroll down, and then we'll just keep it as long as it goes in order. I'm just gonna keep going. Scene 7, scene 8, scene 9, scene 10, scene 11, scene 12, scene 13, scene 14, and then it goes to 19. So let's grab all of that. All right, let's paste it here. All right, so we did it. We put all that in there. And as you can see, most of it, let's go to like scene at page 16, I think it was. Yeah, let's get to work was the last place we were, and then scene 6, and then it goes from there. Perfect. So we were at scene 14. So we need to go to scene 15 and beyond. And that should be in this one. Let's just find 15. Save us time. All right. Let's go down to here and see if that matches. Let's hope that buys us some time. He slows to a walk, disappearing into the shadows of the desolate cityscape. So now we're on to scene 15. So let's grab scene 15. And we should be able to, the rest of the movie should be here. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, there's 27, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. All right, so let's shift, copy, paste, go to over here in final draft, paste it. Boom. So final draft says that this is a 113 page script. So we just wrote a 113-page script in at least first draft of 113-page script in about 5 hours. That took us about 5 hours to do. Now, it's not nothing, 5 hours, but compared to what it typically takes to write a script, it's a lot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna share this script. I'm gonna put a link to the script under the description on the video. I guess in conclusion, what I really wanted to show was the legitimate process that I'm following when I work with ChatGPT to write something like a feature-length script, so that you know what the process is actually step for step, and can get it all the way through. Again, the caveats are this is not meant to be the final script by any means at all, but in a past life prior to AI, after 5 hours of writing, I would probably have I could probably do like 20 pages in 5 hours, you know. And but I typically I wouldn't normally have written in 5 hour stints, because the nature of those 5 hours is pretty intensive, and so I do better in 2 to 3 hour sprints when I'm just writing, you know, just manually writing off the dome and just writing the script. This process is a little different because there's so much progress being made. I do find it easier to keep going because I'm staying in a more high level sort of review and revise mode, a more creative mode, a more oversight mode. And there's going to be a lot of work that's needed to work on the script. I'll share the script as is, and then I'll share the script like as I make significant updates to it in the coming weeks, because I do plan to make this movie. This is a movie that I'm working on already, just in terms of the creation of the characters using AI film. I'm really excited to do it. If my voice sounds tired now, it's because it's been about 5 hours, but we have a first draft of the script, and we started without anything of a script except what was in my head. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you get something out of it. All feedback is welcome, even people who hate on the process. I love your feedback too, because it may help me to improve my process. You're not gonna be able to convince me to just stop using AI. Like, I don't know why a lot of crazies out there are like, oh, nobody should use AI. Choose for yourself what you decide to use, you know? Don't come over here and think you're gonna have any influence over what I decide to do. But your opinion and your voice are welcomed by me, because it gives me more stuff to write about. It's kind of cool to see how everybody has all these different ideas about a thing, how different people respond to change and introduction of new context, technology, or whatever it means. It's kind of we're kind of living the sci-fi dream, like a Black Mirror type situation live right now. You know, it's like, oh, what happens if you take a world where computers are only able to do dumb stuff or whatever, and you change it to a world where computers are now like can mimic or perform, however you want to call it, highly intentional, highly intellectual functionality, near human level quality of creativity and or writing or whatever you might want to call it. You can debate about that all day long. The point is, as a high concept sci-fi story, we're living it, and the concept would be what happens when you take a society that's not used to computers being more than dumb sort of like dumb tools to make them, have these highly intelligent tools that can handle interactions, that can pretend to act like humans believably, and can mimic human intelligence at a pretty high level. How do people react to that, right? So we're living that experience right now. And I am all for it, because as a writer, I think that's what makes life really, really fun. I'm pretty sure I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. And I'm proud of you guys for staying in there with me. I'm proud of me for staying in there with me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.